Whew, okay, so we made it through that long slog of introductions and conceptual stuff and defining terms. Now it's time to write our first Python class. Let's say we're making a game, poker or blackjack or battleship, it doesn't matter, and we've decided we want to model a user. So we're going to make a user class as our first simple class. In this video, we're actually really only going to go halfway there. I'm going to show you how to make a new class, but we're not going to fill it with data just yet. So the magic keyword is class, and then a name of a class. So we'll go with user. A couple notes about naming classes. We name them in the singular instead of users, user, and we always use camel case. You don't have to, but that's the conventional way. So we could just do user or poker underscore deck, but the convention, it would be poker deck in camel case. So most things like variables, function names are conventional in Python to use snake case, class names, camel case. Okay, so we could define our class user, we add a colon, and if we just wanted to leave it at this, an empty class that did nothing, technically right now this is invalid Python code, and if I try and run this, it gets mad at me, unexpected end of file. So if I add pass in here, this basically just says, okay, I'm done, there's nothing else in here, move on. Now, we actually have a working class. So we've defined a class, just like, we define a function called add, and let's just say it returns 3, it doesn't actually add. Well, we've defined the function, but we're not using it yet. And to use it, we have to actually call add with parentheses. It's no different here. So we want to actually create a new user. We have the class. To make an instance of it, we could just go, let's call it user1 equals user with parens. So eventually, aka the next video, we'll be passing in information like a name and an age, or I don't know, a list of attributes, all these different things we could pass in that will actually instantiate inside the class. But for now, it's an empty shell of a class. It does absolutely nothing, but we can tell that it works by doing this. If we print user1, let's see what user1 is. Okay, we get this thing, main.user object. And that's all. We don't care about this memory address. So it's a user. It's empty, but this is what it looks like for now when we print a user. We'll be able to change that, come up with a custom representation, but we haven't got there yet. So we've created a new user and it's empty. It doesn't have any information, doesn't have any properties, no methods, but it is a user. Sort of like doing this, L equals an empty list or list like that. And the last thing I'll show, we can verify if we do type user1, let's call it, and it tells us class user, main.user, but this is just user is what's important. So just like if we do type of the number 5, it's an int, or 5.0, class float, or if a dictionary, it says class dict, we now have our own class user. So remember, this is a class, the blueprint for what every user should look like. Right now, they're all identical and they do nothing. Down here, we're instantiating a new user instance, which is a user object. It's an object here in this variable. And I could make user1, user2, and user3 and 4. Those are all individual users. They all look the same, but they're not the same thing. Just like when we make a list, we could have 4 empty lists, and they might look the same, but in memory, they're actually different. So if I just print user1 and user2, here we go. They're both user objects, different places in memory. All right, so that's a wrap for this video. We've defined the simplest, useless class called user, and we've made a couple instances of it. In the next video, we'll see how to actually add data into this class, attributes like username and email and that sort of thing.